This meeting is being recorded.
Hi, Cordell. Hi, Tiana.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? Welcome.
I'm doing well.
Good. Hi, Yadi.
Hey, I just saw your note, so I can share it. Actually, I could send it to you.
Okay. You want to make you the host once we get everybody in?
Yeah. Go ahead. Just make me the host then.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, Tiana. Cordell.
Hi.
Tiana, we have your key fob. You know when you'll be in the office?
Okay. More than likely next week.
We're not there next week, actually, or unless Alicia has them. We'll be in
Okay.
Belmont next week.
Okay.
Justin. Kashina. Hey, Kashina.
Hi. Sorry, trying to come off mute.
Hi.
That's me all the time. We got some either new people or under somebody else's alias. Justin? That's gonna come off mute.
Hi, yeah, no, that's my husband's name. I was trying to change it to my name. I'm just against Sean invited me to join you guys for tonight.
Oh, okay. Very nice. Welcome.
Hey y'all, I'm Cordell.
Hi.
I took a phone call, so I'm sorry. I don't know if you called for me or anything like that.
I did. I was saying hi.
Just rude. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I had to jump on the phone, but how's it going?
Good. Welcome.
Thank you.
So we haven't met you in person yet.
Have not met me in person. No, I'm out here in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Oh, okay, cool.
I've been talking with LR, talking with Curtis, Blake, just kind of getting back into the swing of things. I got another class to take before I go active, but just wanted to jump on here and see kind of how you guys do your thing and just make my presence known a little bit.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Hey, Paul.
Hello, hello.
All right. I'm Jessica. So, okay. So it's Kaylin.
Kaylin.
All right.
Welcome.
Hi, Eleni.
Good evening, everybody.
Testing.
Hey.
Testing.
How y'all doing?
You work today?
Huh?
You work today?
I'm always working, but I missed the office meeting today. They had fun.
Oh, you
guys
were
had
on Zoom. Okay. Cool.
So, Yari, did you guys rearrange the office? It looked bigger.
So they took the that
sectional.
yeah, they took that away.
It looks big. I was watching your video early.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Jessica.
Hi, how you doing? I'm gonna have
Hi.
to jump off at 7 o'clock. I have
Oh, okay.
another appointment at 7 o'clock that I have to meet, but I wanted to jump on at least for the first 30 minutes of this training.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. Thank
No
you.
problem. Mm-hmm. Hey, Janae.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Glad to be joining tonight.
Yeah. Oh, I don't see, where's, oh, okay. Did someone just come on? Oh, Jada's coming in. All right. Well, I'll just give it like 2 more minutes and then we'll get started. So Alicia and I kind of have an outline of some things we want to cover in Dotloop, but if you have any questions and we don't cover it, please feel free to ask. We just tried to pick the things that are most, that we tend to see the most need for. So, hey Jada,
Oh, it says, I was gonna say good morning. It's not morning. Hey.
did you just get off of work?
No, no, I don't know where my head is right now.
Okay. I was trying to see if any of the JPAR folks, like they're coming on. All right, so let me start.
Can you send it to me, Yadi?
You want it?
Yes, the outline.
Oh, I don't have that outline. I mean, I'll send it to you. I mean, I have it in that little form I sent it to you.
Yes, that way. That's
Okay.
fine.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Alicia is probably gonna jump in and do most of this stuff, but I'm just gonna kind of get us started. And I thought I was gonna get to this last week, so this is going to be this is some of the stuff from last week, but all right. So, wait a minute. Okay, so Dotloop. So we're going to talk about Dotloop today. Dotloop is the tool that we use to record all of our transactions with clients. This is what we would utilize if we ever had to share this information with the commission or some kind of outside source that was requesting it. I need a record, you know, the company needs a record. I need a record because they'll typically come to the broker in charge, and then whoever else is the broker in charge. Sean, of course, South Carolina, and Tijuana in Harrisburg. So we use this tool. It's also how we confirm that you've submitted all of your documents in order to get your commission. So kind of like the, you know, the rule is all documents have to be in before we can pay out. So sometimes when you feel like there's a little bit of a delay, it's because we're waiting on some of that documentation. I typically either share that through the Dotloop app, or I'm going to text you or call you and say, hey, these are missing. One of the things that to me is a downside, I don't know if there's some other way, Alicia maybe can tell me because she's more familiar with it. Dotloop is new to me. I don't know how to tell you that documents are missing. So at that point, I just text you. Now, if a document is incorrect, then I will share that through the app. We use folders to try to make it easier for you to, you know, kind of like organize everything, and also for us to understand what you're sharing. And the more documents you add to Dotloop, the more folders you have. And that probably isn't going to make a whole lot of sense until we go inside of Dotloop, because some people share a lot of information, which is fantastic. It's great to have a lot more information, but it's also information that is unnecessary to me when I go to approve transactions. So sometimes I don't need that, although it's a good thing to have it. So today we're going to be covering, well, I'm not going to say we're going to cover all of them, but these are some of the ones that you'll find if you enter Dotloop. The templates are going to be the buyer loop, new construction, which is going to have less documents than the buyer loop, referral, listing, lease. So if you're doing a rental, we don't do property management, so we don't operate on the landlord side just because we don't have a trust account, but we will help people rent. And then a commercial loop for those of you that do commercial, and a, oh, Tijuana's calling. South Carolina buyer and South Carolina listing loop. So, all right. Okay, so I'm gonna jump into Dotloop. So I'm going into the default, which is what most of you have, unless you're Alicia. The default is how we start to build loops, right? So let me move this over. Okay. So when I want to add a loop, I go in here. It's the easiest way for me to do it. If you want to add a contact, you go into people. So if you want to add a contact here, these are my people. All right, let's go back to loops. Okay, so if I'm adding a loop, and this is where I need Alicia to jump in, because this is something that happens a lot. And I can say that if we were ever in a position where we had to look for a particular file, we're always going to look for the address. What the name is associated to the address, 9 times out of 10, I don't know. So if the property address is 123 Banana Street, that's what I'm looking for. But sometimes we name it at the beginning because we don't have an address that we're working with. We'll name it something else. And then later on, it's like, I have no idea what that's attached to in terms of address. So I'm just going to put in a number in here just because I'm just going to, oh, there's actually a Main Street. Okay. Wait a minute. Let's call it Main Road. All right. And then I'm going to hit continue. And then I'm going to pick the buyer loop just because I think it's like my favorite loop.
Mm-hmm. So I was going to add really quick, if you're doing a buyer loop, it is best to name it by the person's name, the first and last name of your client that you're working with, because you, in the beginning, you won't know what property that you're looking at. You can
so that
edit it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you know what? I should go back to that. Hold on. That's a good point. All right. So let's add the loop. And then instead of naming it the way I did with the street.
For listings, you can add the address because that doesn't change.
All right. So we're going to do the buyer loop. And then Alicia can show us how to change the name because I honestly don't know how to change it. All right. So if you have a photo, you can put in the photo. If not, let's hit done. I know Tijuana's in here somewhere, right?
I am. Yes. Hello, everyone.
Okay. Hey, sorry, Tijuana, you were calling me, but I was like in the middle of talking. So then I was like, oh.
No problem. I'm sorry. Yeah, no problem. I looked at the time and I was like, oh, let me hop on.
All right. So right now the status would be, you know, you could put in pre-offer, I guess, but I don't put anything. And then we won't know the price until we're actually shopping. So Alicia will show us how to fix that. So we're going to view the loop. Right now, we're also considering adding a couple more things. So we do have a termination doc here. We don't have anything in there. So if you needed to put in a termination document, you would just search for it which I'll do in a minute. But I do want to go over why we built these folders the way we did. So Alicia and I did this together. The sample folders, we know that and anytime you're going to do the buyer agency is going to ask you to send these two sample forms. So that's why they're in here. So that's just a sample folder. You don't really need to send it to me for approval, but it's in there for your use. All right, so then agency documents. Every document in here is the documents that we believe you need at the beginning of a transaction. So you would be working with real estate agents disclosure. This right here is the brochure that goes with it, if you like to send that. I typically don't send it, but we should. I know Alicia always sends it. Then we have the exclusive buyer agency agreement. Well, I wonder why this is in here. Exclusive buyer agency agreement. So that's what we need to have filled out. And you can go ahead and put the buyer in here. You can add the person. But I'm just going to click in here. You fill this out as appropriate. And then I wonder why we have these in here. Why do we have these in here, Alicia? We could fix it.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't know how to fix loops, so I have to rely on Alicia and Ange. All right, so non-executed documents. So actually these documents right here, the reason why we call them non-executed is because, you know, when you fill out a document, you have your client's signature, but you don't have the seller's signature. So we call this non-executed because you're going to need to come in here and fill it out. X here. You're going to need to fill this form out, but then you're only going to have your client's information. So that's why we created that folder here. And then the next thing that you're going to see in there is going to be your FHA VA financing. If you have a VA loan or FHA, you would use this addendum as well and send that out. Alicia, can you think of anything else?
Sometimes the MOG and RPOs are in there too. Sorry, that's for listing.
Right, exactly. So then executed documents would be the ones that you are beginning to get ratified. So by ratified, I mean both sides have signed this document, and these are placeholders that Alicia has put in here. So you're supposed to add a file in here. 9 times out of 10, no one actually adds the file. But I'm going to show you an example of one. So let's see if I can find one. I'm going to add a document here, and I'm going to browse. Let's see. I'll go into one of my actual documents. All right, so let's say, okay, I know they were buyers. All right, so their MOG, where is it? Don't tell on yourself, Yachty. Okay, so here's my property disclosure. Oh, you know what? South Carolina doesn't have an MOG, and this is South Carolina. But here is my property disclosure. So we don't have one for property disclosure, and I'll tell you why. It's because, oh, we do have one right here, the RPOs. So we'll take this and then we slide it into the file. So now it's sitting inside of that file. This one just happened to be South Carolina because I just picked somebody that I knew was a buyer. But basically you can just slide it inside of this file that Alicia has created. Alicia is like the only person that knows how to do this. Like no one else can figure out how to do this. But we do that so you don't forget to add these documents in. On the North Carolina side, you will have a mineral oil and gas rights. If you practice in South Carolina, they do not collect mineral oil and gas rights over there. So we don't have that form in there. The due diligence, sorry, my little mouse is sliding. The due diligence receipt, some people collect it together. So the due diligence and the earnest money. So if you collect it together, it's okay to just put one of them. If you collect it separately, because some attorneys will sign it and then won't send it, and then you haven't shared it with the other party. So you may have to have only one form, or you may have to have two. So that would be page 17 of the offer to purchase. All right, so then addendum. So this is anything related to, this is the addendum that, I don't know if you guys heard about this addendum. It's a brand new addendum that we had drafted. Anytime you collect due diligence and it is not going to be received by the party, the seller, by 12 o'clock midnight of the same day that the contract was ratified. So if they will not receive it by 12 o'clock that day, you have the seller and the buyer sign this form. So you would fill it out accordingly. You put some text boxes in, you'd say, the dates between this buyer and that seller, and then the municipality would be, whatever, Mecklenburg County, and then address, the amount. So if you're sending $5,000, you let them know how: personal check, money order, certified check, or it will be an electronic transfer or a wire. And then you put no later than this date. So if you and the seller agree that you would have it by, let's say today is Tuesday, if you agreed you'll have it by Saturday, then you would put in Saturday here. You would date it, and then you would have your buyer sign it, and the seller. And this protects your client so that they don't say that they didn't receive the due diligence and so they want to void the contract, because that is something that they can do. The seller, if they don't receive it by 12 o'clock midnight. So that document is there for that reason. All right. Okay, so that's executed documents. And the only one that we don't have in here is offer to purchase. So if you get, of course, you're going to fill out the offer to purchase. You're going to download it, right? So you would, right here, you'd fill out. Then you would go to download. And then right here, I have my download. So then you would send a copy of this to the listing agent, and the listing agent would have their client sign it, right? As long as they're accepting your offer. And then at that point, you would come in here. And add that document. So you would go back and browse on your computer and find that one.
That's how I filled it out, right?
Yeah, you would fill it out. I just haven't filled it out. What's going on with my little mouse here? Sorry. It's because I have this screen in front of it. Was that you, Stacy?
Yes, that's me.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, so you would just go, I don't even know where the document is right now. Oh, here it is. Yeah, so you would browse it, go to downloads, pick it up, open it, and put it in there. Alicia can put the, did I put that in the wrong place? Yeah, I did. Sorry. This is what you don't want to do. You want to put this in the wrong place. Hold on, I might have to have Alicia take over. What's going on with me? Okay, so this, I put it in the wrong place. I need to put it up here. So I just split it up into the executed documents. So once I get the ratified one, I would put it in here. Alicia can build the offer to purchase, but Dotloop can be a little finicky. So sometimes when she goes in and tries to create the loops, it just won't take it. So, so that's the only one that you would have to go ahead and put in there. So, Alicia, did you wanna jump in?
Yes. So you have something on your screen.
Mm-hmm. What do I have?
Something black on your screen. I'm not sure what that is.
Is it y'all? It's the
I think it's the file open that's showing on the screen.
No, it's the camera. It's like
it's the camera view. Oh, maybe
Oh, okay.
is it gone?
yep, it lowered it. It's like small.
Okay. Yeah, that's yeah, it's like all in the way. Yeah. So, okay. And then the MLS document, this info sheet right here, you would just go into Canopy, right? Or if you're in Fayetteville, you go into the Fayetteville one. And then you would, let's see, Juan is jumping in. So I'm going to pick one that is, you know, somebody's listing at the firm. Sorry, I got to keep moving this document. All right, so I'm going to go to, so yeah, so you would just basically download it. And I like to have this sheet for a couple of reasons. And the reasons are, one, for now, it states what your commission would be for now. Because we know that that's going away. And then the second reason is because, you know, we make remarks and things on here. And, you know, if you ever get into a position where you have to explain that you may have disclosed something and you have to go back and forth with, you know, the commission or an agent, this would be a supporting document right here. So.
Yeah, did I see 1.5 commission? My eyes just caught that number.
What did you see?
The commission 1.5 for the buyer.
Let me see. Yep, buyer agency 1.5. Yep. Yep. That's something with Scott, looks like.
Mm.
All right, so here, you see how I pulled that sheet? Then we can replace it. So then that way it's sitting inside the file that was created for it. So does that make sense when I slide it in there? It's like replacing, that's just a placeholder for that sheet. And we put that there so you don't forget to put it in. So this addendum right here is going to be, you know, anything where you're changing the contract, you're amending it. So the 310T is going to be your due diligence request for repairs, and then your professional services disclosure. This is one that we tend to forget. It's not mandatory by commission rules, but the brokerage, so Lifestyle, likes to have it. So this is basically all of the vendors that you've recommended to your client. So if you recommended a home warranty company, an inspector, radon specialist, you know, whatever it is, you add it here. I was always taught to put the phone number as well. And then you have your client initial it, or if they waived it and you didn't utilize that service, that's what you would put NA and then just waive it on this side. So you would ask them to put their initials and then go to the bottom and sign off on it, you and the buyer. The other thing about this is, like, sometimes I notice that we forget, like the, huh?
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Sometimes I notice we forget to put in the property addresses and the, like, the firm and all this stuff. So just if you remember to fill that out. All right, and then this is, again, that FHA financing is sitting in here. The lead-based paint. Lead-based paint should be up here. We'll fix these. It should be up there somewhere. And then the 4T amendment. So this one is one of those that, like, let's say the seller, you need to change the settlement date, or you need to change due diligence, or you need to change, you need to add earnest money, whatever it is, change the price. Sometimes you're doing an extra credit, right, for repairs. That would go in here. So that's what this one is for. Of course, when these come back, they're going to be ratified, so you're going to have to add the document. So you'll have to browse it on your computer, find it, and add it in there. We can try to put all placeholders for this. They seldom aren't used, or they're seldom used, but like I said, sometimes the loops don't respond and Alicia can't get them to work. I can't get them to work at all. And then the last one that's like super important if you want to get paid on time, and this is the only thing that the Florida office looks for when they're paying it out, and then this goes to Tijuana if you're at her office. You would put the wire receipt. So if you got a wire or a check deposit, you put it in here. Then your Alta, it has to be signed. If it's not signed, we won't consider it like finished. We won't consider this complete. And then the request, the commission form, it's not in here. Actually, it's going on with my loops. Alicia, I'm gonna let you take over on that.
So the commission form won't be in there, since once you upload it, it does not perform. So you have to you have to actually add the text boxes because it won't be editable.
Okay. So I'm gonna stop my share and let you go ahead and do it. Because you're gonna have to show them how to do edits and stuff, which I don't know how to do.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay, so on my end, adding a document, creating a folder. So Alicia is gonna cover some of that stuff. I did adding a document, but I'm gonna have Alicia do editing and folders and all of that. One of the folders that we've been considering is miscellaneous, and that's because some of you like to put your inspections, your appraisals, you like to put your invoices of repairs, which is really good information, but we don't need it for payout. So we're considering putting that folder, but you can also create the folder, which Alicia will show you how to do. Alicia, I got to give you the host, or you can reclaim it.
No, you can make me host.
Okay.
And while you're pulling that up, Yadi, what if your Dotloop looks nothing like what you just pulled up?
Are you talking about South Carolina?
Well, just the Dotloop that you were going through. I was trying to follow along, and it didn't really pull up some of the information there.
Okay.
And it was giving me an error message as well.
Really? It's not giving you the same loop I had? Okay. Well, Alicia's gonna go into it to see.
Okay.
To show you her side of it. My loop was off a little bit, but I think it just needs to be fixed.
Okay.
So, hi, Paul.
Hello.
So whenever you pull up your loop, what does it look like?
So when I log in, it has my name, and it has a loop, like a interclosing loop. This all right here that has my name in it.
We'll check with Ange to see if you're set up properly, because it should look the same way we did. Because sometimes if it's not set up properly, you'll have minimal access, so you won't be able to see all the forms.
Okay.
Paul, are you manually putting in yours?
I honestly use my old Zip Forms account. That's how I've been pretty much getting my contracts and everything from South Carolina.
Is that because of the South Carolina? You can't go into South Carolina unless everything is clear with NARS.
Yeah, everything should be okay. Even just going through, like, looking at the North Carolina, I'm not even sure if North Carolina was okay for me as well.
Okay, yeah, then we need to have yours checked out.
Okay.
Is anybody else having the same issue Paul is having?
It's probably user error. It's all good. No.
Well, we know you're a techie, so it's not user error.
Yari, quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Is that 140 residential property for owner association with condos and townhouses? Yeah, right there.
Is that what?
For homeowner association, if they have a fee?
Yeah, so the Residential Property and Owners Association, that's our codes. That's the one where you're making the declarations about the property. So if you're on the seller side, the seller is declaring whatever information, they want to disclose about the property. Of course, they can choose no representation, yes or no.
Okay. So I'll go over to showing you how to create a folder. So if you come into the loops and then you see something that you think should be in there, or if you need to rename it, we do have it named in an easy way so Yadi and Ange and I can see it and make sure that everything is there. But if you do need to add a folder and you don't see miscellaneous in your loop, or if you want to add in all those documents that Yadi mentioned that they are great, but we don't really need them to get paid, but you can still add them. So you can come here and add a folder. You can rename it. And you can just put in something, you can just put in miscellaneous and you have it renamed. And that way the loops are all over the place. And you can go ahead and upload everything in here just to keep it up for your records. If you need to rename something, that's easy as well. So all you need to do, if sometimes when you upload a document, it can say whatever that file name is, it comes from whatever the document is, and it can have all these numbers at the end. That's an attachment, and we don't really know what that is. So you can come in and rename that document, and all you have to do is these three little dots are really going to be your friend over here. These little dots, you can rename, you can make a copy of it, you can print it if you need to, you can download from these three little dots, or you can archive something. And so sometimes if you're in a hurry and you accidentally upload something in Dotloop, you can't delete it, but you can archive it. So if you see something and you say, oh my gosh, I added it twice, just come in and archive it and it will take it out of the loop. If you realize it's a document that you need, you can go back in and bring it back into the fold and you'll see it again. So you can archive it and you can unarchive it. So these little dots help you do so. Another thing I want to mention that's very important, that we see a lot of documents sometimes come from different places. And if you need to split the document, so for example, let's see, let me find something. Let's see. I have a lot of things in here. Let me just go to the templates and add something. So if I get a offer to purchase, and sometimes you can get an offer to purchase back and it's executed, everything is signed, but we don't want to keep uploading that same 17-page document every single time we need to have it signed, and definitely don't want to put that whole document inside of the MOG or the RPOS, or if it's a DD or EMD, sometimes they come all together. So if you need to split it, I'll show you how to do that. So give me one moment. So if you get an offer to purchase and it comes in and it has all these attachments and you really don't need all that, you can split whatever you need. And mainly it'll come back as the EMD and the DD receipt. Sorry for scrolling so fast. So these documents right here, we need them to come back separately. So you need this acknowledgement of receipt monies. You can split this document and create a whole different document, and that way you don't have to upload this document with all those pages. So how you will split it is really easy. So you go to the top of the page. Sorry, I can still see my camera view, so I'm moving it out of the way. Let me change my camera view because I can't see the top of my page. Okay. So you will come to the top of the page. You have to download it first. Then you will come back in and upload it. I know it seems like a lot of steps, but once you do it a couple times, it'll be easy. So you'll come back in and then you will browse. And then you want to get that document that you uploaded. So now you'll see you have the option to split it. But you have to make sure you download it first. So I want to split this document. The first part of this document, I'll call it OTP. The second part, I just want to say DD receipt / EMD. And I only want page 17. I don't want anything else. So it's going to split this document. It's going to leave page 1 through 16, and it's going to give me the pages that I need so I can upload it appropriately. So I'm going to split the document. So now it's done. So now you go back in your loop and you'll see the split document. See, now the OTP now comes back with only 16 pages, and I'll scroll really fast so you'll see it. So you only see 16 pages. But what we really need is this one that shows the acknowledgement receipt of monies. And this is what you would need to make sure that you drag it into the appropriate place for EMD or the receipt. It should be in here somewhere. It won't be in this one because this one is for test purposes. But if it was a placeholder, I'm just going to put it here for here now. If you wanted to put it in a placeholder, you would just drag it. So now you have the DD receipt and EMD. And this is mainly what Yadi is looking for, making sure that these documents are signed. And she's going to make sure that she's looking for that page. And looking for all 17 pages, it can kind of be cumbersome. So that's the easy way to split it. And if we need to do this several times, it's fine. It takes a moment to kind of get used to splitting the documents. But once you do it a couple times, it's pretty easy. Any questions on that part before we go forward further?
Yeah, I wanted to point out that I often see this when you have new construction. So inside new construction, you're going to have your mineral oil and gas rights. There is no property disclosure because the property is brand new. And you're going to have your earnest money deposit. So you're going to have your builder's deposit. And those are the two forms that I'm looking for. And oftentimes agents don't extract it from the contract. So this is how you would do it. You would take that contract and then look for the mineral oil and gas rights in there. It's typically 2 pages inside of a new construction document. And the earnest money deposit is usually in there as well.
So if it's on, so you're telling me like if the earnest money deposit is 1 through 2, I'm only extracting 1 through 2 and just throwing it in that hole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then like if the other one where that little dotted line is at, I'm gonna, just isolate where that part is at.
Yeah. You're gonna
Now
isolate it. You can isolate it multiple times. So you can do 3 times, 4 times. So if you're taking out the mineral oil and gas rights and the earnest money deposit, there's going to be a third one left over, which is whatever is left over. So it'll split into 3 documents.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And make
This
sure
is
that,
really good.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said this is really good. Thanks so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Sometimes whenever you do those documents, Dotloop does read the page numbers. So if it is a page number that is not listed, then you may have to download it and do it a couple times to make sure you get to that, but it will read the page numbers.
But is that page number edited? Like you know how you had split the documents? You can make it high whatever page number you want, right?
No, because it's going to read the page number that that document is. So if the acknowledgement of monies is on page 17, that's the page number it's looking for to split it. But once you
Yeah,
get
you
it,
have to find it.
yeah, once you
Yeah.
get it, then you can name it and create it however you need to.
The other time I see this is when you've done something manually. So you know how you have clients that don't know how to e-sign and you've had to do it manually, and then you go to like a Staples or whatever, go to the office and then download all the documents. They'll come all in one package. And that's when you have to split it, because I'm looking for the, you know, the ROs, the residential property disclosure. I'm looking for the mineral oil and gas rights. I'm looking for the EMD deposit. I'm looking for all of those things. And then sometimes I'll split it, but typically if you can just send it in split, then it's already done. It's easier for me to approve it. So especially when you've sent me all of the documents in one shot. So like Alicia is gonna go over how to submit in pieces so that I get it ahead of time, and then that way you're not like waiting, because if I can approve 3 things at the end, you'll get paid quicker than if I have to approve 18 documents or 30 documents.
Thank you for mentioning that, Yada. That's one thing I was going to say. If once you get your documents in within 48 hours or so, go ahead and submit that for review, and I'll show you how to do that. But I want to show you how to go into a document that does not have editable fields, and you have to add them in on your own. So for instance, let's see. Let me find something. So this is the commission form right here. And when you see this commission form, it's not going to be editable. So you have to add these fields in. So it's going to come in like this, and most of y'all are going to say, I can't add it. So the easiest way to do it is just add a text box. The thing about Dotloop, just about everything you want to do, you can edit it. You can make it editable. And if you have something for your clients, and your clients are not a person that is going to print something out and then have it filled out, you can make it easy for them and go ahead and make the document editable, and they can fill it out on their computer without them having to go print it out. It kind of makes it easier for them too if you have something. But once you do get this commission request form, you can add a text box, make it as big or small as you need to. I know this is time consuming, but this is how you would add text boxes to a document. If you want to put in check marks right here, you can do that as well. So you want to add something into a checkbox. You want to add a radio button or a strike through. Sometimes in documents, we have to strike through something. You can use it here to strike through a document. Of course, you will have your clients to initial the strike through. But if you need to add a checkbox, you can put a checkbox in here, color. And this is how you will make this document editable for you, or if you're doing this for your client, for something that they may need.
Alicia, can you go over how to like delete one of the boxes?
So like you mean the text box right here?
Yeah.
So if you need to delete this box, just hover over the box, and then you can remove this field, little X at the top. So right here, you can hover over it. If you didn't want it there, you can hover over it and move it. Also, if the important thing to remember about adding text boxes, you can't add text boxes on top of each other. Dotloop doesn't like that. So you can't add a text box here and then add a signature on top of it. It won't allow it. See how it moves that way. So it's saying you can't see it on your end, but it's saying you can't duplicate the places. These fields cannot overlap. Can you see that right here?
Mhm.
So if you do that and you see that, all you have to do is go in and remove it, and it'll take it away. Any questions about adding fields to make them editable?
Are you able to make the box smaller
Mhm.
and then put like can you put two boxes on a line just by making them smaller?
You mean a text box?
A text box and then maybe I guess it would be like an initial. Are you able to do it that on the same line, but just by making this text box smaller so it can share the line, or no?
Can you rephrase that question? So you mean like if I added a text box here, but I
Yeah,
want to
that's
put an
small.
initial here too?
Yes.
Yes,
Is it able?
yes, you can do that.
Okay. Okay.
As long as they
Thank you.
don't overlap. That's the only
Right.
thing
Right.
can't
Okay.
overlap.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
The other thing that I notice a lot is if you're doing a strike through, and this happens so much. So basically, you've already filled out your buyer agency, and I noticed that instead of putting 2025, you put 2024. So then I send it back and I say, hey, you have the wrong year on this. And then what'll happen is that you go in, you try to edit it, and it erases everything. And you have to start with signatures all over again. Now that's fine if you have a client that is like easygoing, but then when you have clients that, kind of get annoyed or, you're not in the best place with them, like maybe you're in a place in the transaction where they're frustrated with you, which they often get, during repairs, appraisals, things like that. You don't want to be asking them to re-sign anything. So you would have to first download the document. So you have to download it. So let's say on that, where's your PDF? That's a OTP.
Okay, I'll go to that one.
No, that's a fillable.
So I'm gonna go ahead and put some initials right here just so they can see.
Okay.
The beautiful thing about Dotloop too, if you don't know this, if you want to go ahead and sign it right away, you can always assign it to anyone. So once you assign it to anyone just means anyone that's attached to this file. So if you're logged in under your account and you want to go ahead and sign right now, I'm logged in under Sean and it's gonna sign Sean's name. You can do that that's what you do for yourself as well, to go ahead and sign the document before you send it. What she's saying is, I'm gonna move this field that shouldn't be there. Once these signatures are here and you need to make some changes, it's gonna say, do you wanna erase the signatures? So if I try to do something, it'll ask a question up here about erasing signatures. And like she said, you definitely don't want to do that. So the best thing you can do is give me an error because it knows it's wrong. So you have to download this document without erasing those signatures that your client has already signed. So you'll download it. Go back. And this is where renaming really comes into play because you're going to download, upload. And you don't want to have all these weird numbers at the back because we don't know what that means. To us, it just looks like 36 times that it's been uploaded. We don't know that. So just rename it so we'll know which one is most current. So I'm uploading it again. And I need to strike through if I made a mistake. So I didn't mean for that to be 235, but I definitely don't want to send this back to my client and say, oh, I didn't mean for that to be 235 without making a change. But you need to ask them, we need to make a change. I need to strike it through without having them to re-sign it. But they do have to initial the change that you made. So I'm gonna strike it through. If this was wrong, strike it through. I'm gonna put their initials here for them to initial where we made the mistake. And then we'll send it back to them. You will sign it to whoever it goes to. We'll sign it to Yachty. Yachty needs to sign this because we made a mistake. We'll send this back to her and she'll initial indicating that she agreed to us changing it. Any questions about that before we continue? I know this was a lot, but it'll all make sense once you get used to downloading. The main thing is anytime you make any changes to the document, just download it first to give you a fresh version without all these signatures that's going to be here that you could possibly erase. Okay.
And then the last thing I think is going to be submit file.
So if you have a new file and your client is now under contract, well, your client is now under contract. So what we want to see is your working with real estate. Go ahead and select that one. Excuse me, your buyer agency. And you want to submit your offer to purchase. If these are your only documents that you have, go ahead and submit those. Let's say you already have of course, if you have a under contract, you want to go ahead and send the MOG and the residential property disclosure. You want to send all these. And you're just going to submit right here for review. This is going to alert Yachty and Ange and myself that these documents need to be reviewed. Like she said, it's much easier to submit these in the beginning versus wait until the end, and then your pay is going to be delayed if something is wrong. So you submit for review and it's going to turn red. So Yachty, when you see this, just overlook it because it's going to say test, but I'll do it for training purposes.
Okay.
So we submit it for review. It's asking me for some additional details. I'm just going to put that in there. Street name not valid, but it is though. And the only thing we want to submit is agency document, executed document. And we want to select the reason why. Buy-in contract review. I'm guilty of not putting a note in here, but if you are submitting it in advance, you just want to say something, a review of documents. After going on a contract or something. That way they know that you're submitting this for review, but not for final review. I was changing it for initial review. And this is what it looks like. So it sends her an alert on the other side and we can see it that these need to be reviewed. If she has any questions or something needs to be changed, then you receive a note. It'll come to your email saying what's missing, what she needs, and then you can have it corrected in advance before you get to the final stages. Any questions about that? No questions?
Okay. Look, I'm at part 2.
I'm sorry, what was that? What'd you say, Stacey?
So I'll say that the benefit of doing this is that there are things that we do sometimes that we don't realize are not compliant. And so when I get it, like if you're ready for your commission to be paid out, let's say you did everything, you deposited your check and everything, and then I get it, I'm going to stop and then say, oh, you're missing signatures here, or you're missing initials here, or you selected, some people select exclusive and dual agency, and you have to pick one or the other. So then I'll like send all that back. Meanwhile, you're waiting for your check, but now, I'm going through my process of review. So if you send it ahead of time, you'll get all of that out of the way. Because I remember I had submitted my documents and my broker in charge would not pay me. And I could not figure out why. And it was because the due diligence area, I had only signed as a listing agent and I never got the seller to sign. And he kept sending it back to me. And I was like, why do you keep sending me this back? And he said, you always have to get the seller's signature. And so after that time, I was like, like, I am not trying to wait till the last minute to send documents. And I'm not trying to make that mistake again, right? Because when you're waiting for that check, if you haven't been paid 2-3 months, and that check is coming in, you don't want it to be held up over something like that, which is something you could have handled earlier in the process.
Yes. So I too had to learn the hard way recently, especially when we have multiple files going on at one time and we all get busy and we forget. You may overlook something, you may forget to sign something. I had a situation where we started out with one buyer and then we ended up with two at the end. If you don't remember to go back and add that buyer to that form when you get to the end, so now you have 15 forms depending on the complexity of the file. They have to go back and add that second buyer to all those forms from the beginning if you forget to do that or if that happens. So it's much easier to go ahead and do it from the very beginning. That way you can kind of get a handle on what's going on, especially you don't know how these files they can definitely become extensive. For instance, my recent file, we have amended the file 15 times. So we have 15 we have 15 amendments, addendums, the agreement to amend. We have those in there 15 times, and we had to change the closing date 7 times. So it's a lot of documents, and if I forgot something from the beginning, we got to go back and fix all those documents. So it's just much easier to just go ahead and take care of it in the very beginning. Any questions about Dotloop?
There is, Alicia. I don't know if you know how to do it. I have no idea how it's done, but you can actually share your file with me. So actually I can see it without you even sending it for review. I still would like it submitted for review, but if you do that, I can see what you're doing. But if you don't do that, I can't see it. I can only see it when you submit it for review.
So in order to do that, so I'm gonna go back into test. So I'm gonna go back in, I'm gonna show you really quick how to add you to the transaction. So I was in this one. So I want to add you, well, this is yours, but if I needed to add you to add a person, if I add you to here, let's say I want to add me to because you're already there. So if you wanted to add myself to the team, what she's saying is that way anything changes, she can see it from a different point of view than waiting for it to be submitted. So you can go ahead and add her to your team and you'll say add to the team. And just know that if you're adding someone to the team, it should not be someone that is not working closely with you. So it should be someone, Sean or Yadi, that's the only person, or myself, that you want to be added to this loop. Because they can see everything about your file. You would choose the role. So the role would be admin. You don't have to fill any of that out. And this just gives her rights, or us rights, to be able to see what's going on from the inside versus waiting for you to submit it. Does that make sense? So any changes that's made, you can see on my team, and we can see that person on the team, and it'll send us an alert if anything needs to be changed. And that way, if she sees something wrong, she can just reach out and say, hey, I saw something wrong. You need to go ahead and correct it before you submit it. You don't have to worry about going through all that.
Well, I need y'all to add me to that.
I'm sorry.
Definitely. I need to be added to that feature today.
Yeah. So you will have to add us to it. Although
Okay.
we have admin rights, to all of your files, we don't always go in there and look at them unless there's a problem. So, but
Gotcha.
if you're added to the team, you have to add us to every transaction that you want us to be a part of.
Right.
And then that way we'll be able to see it and help you out along the way. Especially if you're new, it kind of helps guide you through it.
I have an agent that does it, and it's like it triggers me, so then I know, okay, he wants me to look at this, so it's easy for me because I already know like that's what he wants, like that's what he likes to do, and I'm okay with it. Because if not, I can't see your documents until you decide to submit them, and if they're all in the end, I mean, honestly, it's really hard to get all of these right. Like, it's just so much stuff in there, So, and a lot of times I actually like turn a blind eye to some of the stuff. But like, there are so many questions in those documents. And it's like when I pick something, I'm like, yeah, because, I don't want you to get flagged on this. I want to make sure you have the signatures where they belong. The biggest ones I see are that like the double adding dual and exclusive. They're two different things. Or public marketing and office exclusive. Some people put both. Like those are contradictions. So I'm always going to like choose those. And then also, the other one that I see, well, there's a bunch of little stuff that you're supposed to select, and some people forget to select it. So depending on if it's not a big deal, I'm not gonna make a big deal. But like fuel tank, Alicia and I went back and forth about a fuel tank the other day. So, right, we have to look to see if there's fuel tanks on the property. So that's part of the listing agreement. So anyway. Yeah, so this is it.
The septic, and I've seen on the group chat the other day you was talking about septic. We need to let the buyers know if it is septic or not. Is there a form to it?
Yes. Alicia, can you know where the form is?
Yes, excuse me. I'm dealing with allergies over here, so I'm muting myself. I don't want to cough in your ear. So to answer the question before we go to the septic, what she's saying right here is you have your clients to initial dual agency and designated dual, but not exclusive. It's either or, not both. And this is the one where we see a lot where they initial all of these, and all of these should not be have a place for your clients to sign. It's either one or the other.
The other thing that sometimes I see missed is termination dates on the buyer agency. All buyer agencies have to have a termination date, or it's expired. Like you'll put like a date because you're picking the year, like you're trying to put it next year, but you'll put it this year, so it makes it an expired document. So stuff like that. But if you don't submit it until the last minute, that's coming back.
So the septic and sewer document that you're mentioning, Elaine, is in the lifestyle documents, the master documents. And they have one for seller and then one for buyer. So you just select it and just bring it into your loop. And this is also a document that is not going to be editable. So you will have to add those fields in there. It's taking a little time. My computer's moving a little slow. So
I think one of the challenges with Dotloop is that it doesn't make things mandatory, but this is a mandatory document from the managing partners. They want this document filled out because, especially in the case of septic, if you have septic, it is extremely important that you know how many bedrooms it can service, because if not, first of all, if you buy a property that has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, but the permit is only for 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, then you're looking at a sewer that could get backed up, or where you've overpaid for that property because you can only truly sell it back as a 2-bedroom and not a 3-bedroom. So that's the challenge with the septic, and that's why they're being so like adamant about this form getting filled out. And everybody that's filled it out, has done a great job. Most people take the permit that is emailed to them and also add it in as a document as a backup for themselves.
So can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
When you're doing a buyer agency agreement or a seller agency agreement, are we doing a piece of paper? We're printing this out and then uploading it? Are we doing it right on the computer or something that we email to them?
So 9 times out of 10, you're gonna send it to them through Dotloop. So they're going to get an alert saying that they're to sign it electronically. But you do have, especially people who are like a little older, like, I mean, my mom's pretty savvy, but some people, they just not savvy with computers, or they don't have a computer, they don't have an email. And so you have to do it manually and then upload it. So then you would have to scan it and upload it at that point. So you do have that. You do have clients like that. I had a client that he could not sign DocuSign. It didn't matter what we tried to show him so many times. He just did not get it. He did not get it. So we had to do everything manually with him.
This is a side note too. I'm sorry, go ahead, Stacey.
So basically, it's probably good to just have this form, like if you're meeting with client to sign a buyer agency agreement, it's probably just good just to have that form, some forms on you. Is that what you're saying?
I would always have a printout, yeah. So I'll fill it in and then I'll print it out pre-filled, and then they can just sign it. Or if I'm, you can bring your computer and you can jump on, Wi-Fi if you want, but sometimes it doesn't work. It likes to act up when you most need it, so it is good to have the backup forms because you really just want to get that listing signed. Buyer agency is a little easier because you can have a buyer consultation and then just shoot that over. Whereas, the listing agreement, you want to catch them in that emotion of yes, 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 I want to sign. So you don't want to wait to get back to the office to have them signing, when you could have just had them sign it while you were there. Because somebody else might come and try to scoop that listing up.
Question, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So the septic and sewer disclosure, we have one for buyer, one for seller. So is it a different form for a seller that the seller agent gonna fill? Or if it's the same, would it be on the attachment, they would attach it? Why don't we just send it to our buyer, the attachment, they send it to us?
No, it's when you're on the seller side. So you are going to find the material facts for it. So if you're so that's your material facts research. Is this septic or is this a city, county sewer water? So that's you finding material facts. That's why it's on the seller side. So if you're the listing agent, you need to find out, because this is what Sean discovered, right? That it didn't matter if you were the listing agent or the buyer's agent. The commission expects both agents to be diligent about finding out this information. So it's the same exact form, just one says seller signature and one says buyer signature. That's all.
So do y'all have a lot of septic-ish situations?
There are agents that do work a lot of septic, especially if you're out like Fayetteville or down in parts of South Carolina. Yeah, they're doing well in septic, yeah. But if it's county, It's easy. Like city, you just call them and they give you the information. The other thing is that if it's new construction, you don't have to do this for new construction.
So this is a side note. I know we're almost done. The side note is if you do have clients that are not savvy or not used to computers, some people I've met that don't have email. And let's say it's husband and wife. The wife has an email, but then the husband does not, or vice versa. They need to have their own email. So you can't send the husband and the wife a document for them to sign on one email. They have to have an email. So even if you have to make one for them and have the wife to monitor it, whatever you need to do, they need to have their own email. Just in case you didn't know that, because I heard someone say that and it was like, well, this person doesn't have an email, so I sent it to the wife. And you can't do that. They have to have their own email. How they
Yeah, it has to
monitor
be
it,
unique.
yes, how they monitor it together, that's their business, but they just need to go to a separate individual so they can sign those contracts if they're doing it through Dotloop.
Sean recently sent an appraisal addendum, so if any of you, we'll have to probably have that in the master documents, I'll send it over. So if any of you have a client that's like, I don't care if appraisal comes back low, I want this house and I'm willing to pay the gap. We did this a lot during COVID. I did appraisal addendums all the time. So if you need one, we do have one that Sean has sent over. So.
Hey, Yachty, this is Crystal. I have a quick question.
Hey.
Hey, I have my closing tomorrow and it's new construction. So remember I mentioned that I couldn't upload because it was like 108 pages.
Mm-hmm.
So I extracted the mineral oils and rights. I upload that in Dotloop, right?
Mm-hmm.
But do I need to upload the entire purchase contract from the builder, the whole 108 pages?
So you sent it to me. I'm gonna try to upload it. If it doesn't work, then we'll have to cross that road when we get there. I mean, I've had extremely long ones, but I don't know that I've had them at Lifestyle. I mean, DocuSign could take a lot of information. Alicia, are you aware of there being a limitation on Dotloop?
I'm not aware of a limitation, but I know that it can take a, a large number of files. So if you're having trouble uploading them, you may have to print it and save it as a PDF and then
Yeah,
upload
she
it.
has it as a
I
PDF.
did.
Mm-hmm.
I actually received the error, and it's saying that the file is too large.
What are you trying to upload again?
The purchase contract from the builder.
Yeah, the contract for the builders are extremely long. I don't know what they put in there, but it's like.
So what I did, I just made sure I just extracted the mineral oils, and then I also extracted my compensation part. I also extracted the EMD part. So I did those three and I uploaded those individually. I named them and all that. But this 108 document, every time I upload it, it is in the PDF. It said the file is too large. And Yadi, I wanted to share you. I had to jump off real quick, so I didn't get how to add you. So what I did, I clicked add person. I put your name, I put your address, but for the roles, what do I choose?
Admin.
And I'm not going to choose add to my team, correct?
Yeah, that is what you have to choose, add to your team.
Okay. Okay, I just added you. So that way, because I wanted to get this, my closing is at noon, and I just wanted to be done with this. So all I have to do is upload my the altered copy of the check and the bank receipt and be done.
And just so you know, about like getting paid, we have to have the receipt of the check or the wire confirmation. And then it goes, if you're not at, it's at the Harrisburg office, it goes to Guzman. and Guzman has to have the money show up. The money doesn't show up day one. It shows up for him the next day. So sometimes like there's like that, a little bit of that time gap. So yeah, the sooner you get these in, the better. And the shorter I have to approve at the end. I can have Ange help me approve, but I can't have her approve the other documents because she doesn't know what she's looking for. So she knows how to do transaction coordination, but she's not looking for certain things. So by the time the Alta and stuff, she's got that. That's not an issue. But the other stuff, I have to put eyes on. And that's the challenge that then you have to wait for me to approve it as opposed to me calling Ange or Alicia to approve this because there's only 3 missing. It's just the commission, the Alta, and the deposit.
Well, I will say when I had my closing last week, I had deposited the check. It was after 3 p.m. So that makes a difference too. You
Yeah,
know
it
what I'm
does.
saying? So I think it was on a Monday, and I got my commission check in my account on a Wednesday, which isn't bad, but it was because it was deposited after 3 p.m.
Yeah, so and sometimes you do finish, but it's like I'm not even on like sometimes I'm with clients. That's why I'm saying that the more is approved ahead of time, and I can just shoot Ange a text or Alicia like, hey, I need this approved now. But if they have to look through 18 documents, you know how busy Alicia is, and then Ange, she can't do it because she just doesn't know what she's looking for. So
Thank you for saying that, Crystal. That was excuse me, that was going to be my last thing I was going to say. It does depend on how soon you get paid, is how you can go ahead and get everything in. So don't wait till the last minute and send it at 4 o'clock because it will delay it by 2 days. So every day you miss, just know that it'll be 2 days after that. It's typically how that works. Like she said, if you submit it by 1 o'clock, everything is done. You don't have any issues. You get paid by Wednesday. If you miss a day, then just add another 2 days to that, depending on what's missing or what the time is.
right, and then if
Sometimes,
it's a wire or a direct deposit.
yes, yes. If it's a wire and he can see it right away, he'll go ahead and do it. And sometimes Guzman is really good about, even if it's 3 o'clock, depending on what's going on, he'll try to go ahead and get it in. But if he got to dig too much or wait on receipts, then it's going to delay it. Any more questions? I know we went over a little bit. It's 7:51. The last thing I want to add too, if we happen to be unavailable at any point in time, Dotloop has an amazing customer service team. They will actually get on here and show you and tell you exactly what you need. So whatever you need, they are very knowledgeable of these forms. They can't tell you how to fill them out, but if you need something or something is missing or something is not behaving like it should, because Dotloop can kind of get a little funky, they can assist you with that if we are unavailable. And the only thing that they ask for, of course, your name, and they're going to ask for that little number at the bottom, your member number. And that's it. And they answer the phone right away. It's no long hold time. They have a great team to be able to assist you for the most part throughout the day until about, I think it's about 7 o'clock p.m., depending on the day.
And I think in terms of the checklist, so some of you don't know what forms have to be submitted, right? You may have never done a transaction, or you may still have been, done a couple, but not enough to like just have it down pat. The what's her name? Ange does have a checklist. So if you need a checklist, just let me know because she has built a checklist that shows you like these are the documents you have to have in. And even though we put it in envelopes for you, like you may just need to see it in a checklist form, and she has that. Cool.
Okay.
All righty. Thank you, Alicia, because
You got it.
Thank you.
Dotloop is definitely going to be your friend. If you have any questions, you can call us. I pretty much know Dotloop in my sleep. So if you get stuck with something, just let us know and we can help you. But don't let us know if it's in dire straits, please call Dotloop. They'll be able to assist you if we're unavailable. Don't get stuck. Just know that we're here if you need us.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Well, this was great.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all for
Thank you,
hanging in
guys.
there. This was.
Thank y'all.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. This was great.
All right. Have a good night.